producer, and maybe about 10 years ago I was scoring. Dave Chappelle's show was on his way out, and I was scoring over at Metropolis Studios, and I bumped into a friend. Well, he wasn't a friend at the time. I just bumped into a guy at the bus stop. That's the guy over there behind the cameras, and I convinced him to sell me his bicycle. And when he sold me his bicycle, he came to my house and he appreciated some of the work that I did. And he called me later on and said, "Hey man, I know you don't do this for a living, but maybe you look at a job, at a contracting job." I said no. I turned him down. I said, "Nah, I'm a producer." And he just kept calling me, and eventually I went and saw the job, and I took the job, and I never ever went back to work as a producer. Albert Elkerson, contractor, developer. I pretty much overdo everything. I'm one of those obsessive, compulsive guys. So I make sure everything is straight and lined up right, and it turns out that those are the things that made contractors worth more than other contractors. So I kind of did well in the last 10 years. I built this room with my hands.
This whole room?
The entire room, every piece of electric, every piece of everything. I didn't realize that I was a developer. I just thought I was a contractor who knew how to fix up a room, and I built bars for people. So it seemed elementary to me to just build a bar if they needed it, or a lounge, or a club. When I looked at the success of Pier 132, I started looking at other parts of this warehouse, because I'm only using 2,500 square feet in this room, but I have 62,000 square feet. So I started thinking, well, let me build this, and let me build that. And then I started bringing in tenants, and all of a sudden, the Bronx Black House was born. That's the building that we're in. So in the Bronx Black House, there's Pier 132, there's Port Morris Distilleries, we have a silk screening company upstairs, we have a photography studio here, we have a recording studio here, we have the Ciroc bar is being built in here right now, BX Sandwich, Ja Lion Juice Bar.
You're now a developer. Is that something you're going to be moving into?
I can't go back. It's almost like production. I can't do production anymore, and I can't be a contractor or a carpenter anymore. I have to. See, logic kicks in eventually, and what I looked at was the history of every other waterfront in the New York City tri-state area, you know, and just when I started looking at what happened on every single waterfront, I started wondering, why hasn't that happened on this waterfront? This is the very first block in the Bronx, and I just couldn't figure out why the gentrification hadn't spilled over into the South Bronx. And so when I looked up the street and saw that there was a legendary pier called the 132nd Street Pier, it burned down in that blackout that we had some years ago, but there's a pier that they're reconstructing. That's how Pier 132 became Pier 132. And so I started thinking, what could we do? I mean, if I could get Alicia Keys here, if I can get Carmelo Anthony here. One time I came in the theater in the back, and Oprah was sitting in the back watching Superfly. So I started thinking, if people will come here for this, what if I can get a whole eclectic crowd to appreciate this waterfront just the way they did Dumbo, Tribeca, Chelsea, Long Island City, Williamsburg, Greenport. I became obsessed almost with trying to figure this out. But I had to put my money where my mouth was in order to find out if I was right.